there was a rare double announcement from the royal family as to their health yesterday after it was confirmed that the King is to undergo treatment on his prostate and that the Princess of Wales is recovering in hospital for up to a fortnight following abdominal surgery.
In the studio with us, TalkTV's royal editor, Sarah Hewson. Sarah, morning to you. Morning. A really surprise announcement yesterday to then have two pieces of information like that. Shall we start with Kate? We know she's already had surgery, currently in hospital. What do we know?
So we know that the Princess of Wales had surgery on Tuesday, abdominal surgery. It was planned. It wasn't an emergency procedure. She was not rushed into hospital, we're told. But it was clearly major surgery because she's going to be in hospital at the London clinic in central London for 10 to 14 days. She is said to be doing well. The Prince of Wales was at her bedside before the surgery, after the surgery, and he's going to be dividing his time between being with Kate but also with their children and doing the school run, for example, from their home in Windsor. Once she comes out of hospital, she'll be back at Adelaide Cottage where they live, but she'll be recuperating there for 2 to 3 months. We're probably not going to see her in public till April.
It's big surgery. Everybody's speculating. We don't need to do that.
No.
Interestingly, the timing. Her announcement first, followed by this announcement by the King. And I'd love your opinion on this because we've spoken quite a lot this morning. We've talked about how the monarchy is changing. We would never in the past, Sarah, have ever heard anything that was happening to the King or the Duke of Edinburgh, probably until afterwards. What King Charles has done yesterday as a man of 50, I think is phenomenal. I think the message for men who are famously scared of going, we talk about mammograms and women checking themselves. I've had testicular cancer. You can put the message out there about, men should check themselves, but men are notoriously scared and frightened. This is a very important thing for prostate.
It's really, really
Positive.
significant, and it's a big departure for the royal family to actually give an update like that, specifying exactly what had happened. So the Prince of Wales was experiencing symptoms. He sought medical help. He had some tests. He got the results back yesterday morning and then was told that he was going to need to go in for this procedure next week. He's been at Birkhall in Scotland. We don't know where the procedure is going to take place, whether it is at London or Scotland. He's taking time off. He had duties today and tomorrow. He's not going to be conducting those. He'll be off for a few days after he's had the procedure. But Buckingham Palace trying to reassure that they're not going to need stand-ins. They're not going to need the councillors of state to step in because he's not actually technically out of action. He might be out of the public eye, but he will still be conducting his royal duties. What happens if he is out of action, by the way? Does Prince William take over? Well, that's when the councillors of state step in. So there are 4 councillors of state, the 4 next in line, as well as the spouse. They need 2 in order to give royal assent to a government bill, for example. So it would normally be Prince William. He's also out of the equation at the moment.
But this is what Harry wasn't allowed to be on, isn't it?
So Harry is a councillor of state, and so is Prince Andrew. But you've also now got a couple of extras. So Princess Anne was added to the list and Prince Edward as well.
I don't want to start a debate when we're talking about that, but quite patently, Prince Andrew and Prince Harry shouldn't be councillors of state anymore.
Well, that is exactly why they added the Princess Royal and the Duke of Edinburgh to the list, diplomatically, not having to kick the others off, but making sure that should a situation arise where they need them.
Sarah, you read the statements that we get from the palace, the murmurings, the rumours. Why do you think we've seen this sort of gear change where they're saying, we're going to have full transparency, this is what's happened to the King, this is what happens next? Is it that they want to sort of avoid speculation, they don't want any rumours to come out, get out ahead of it? What do you think's going on?
Well, this will very much been a personal decision by the King to do this, and it was made clear yesterday that it was him who wanted to make his details of his condition clear because he wanted to help other men. We are seeing a shift. If you think about the younger members of the royal family who've talked about mental health, Prince Harry's talked very openly about his mental health. So has Prince William, in fact, talked about the impact of some of the work that he's done when he was an air ambulance pilot and the impact of his mother's death, for example. We would never have seen that in the past.
Never.
But I think they realise that it is important to talk about these things,
and do you
try and break down the barriers.
I was going to say, do you think it's also important that as they look to modernise, justify whatever, this monarchy in a different age, that connecting, because I genuinely think that what he's done with that prostate announcement is fantastic. I think that will I mean, that will just change the view that many men have. So that's great.
It's really important. As he said, it's so common in men of his age, and he wants other men to get help. There's also a practical implication in this day and age and in the social media age. The King cancels his engagements, the Princess of Wales cancels hers, the Prince of Wales cancels his. There's going to be an awful lot of speculation, and what the King has done is said, look, this is what's happening. I'm going to be out for a few days, nothing to worry about, and then I'll be back.
That's great.
We should say this time tomorrow on the programme, we're going to be hearing from the author, Robert Hardman, who's created so many pieces of interest of what we've learned.
And you're doing breakfast tomorrow with David Bull, so you've got, which is great, because she's a royal expert. We're rubbish. So this is brilliant.
I'd love to ask you, what are you most interested in asking him about, from what we've learned of kind of the nicknames, how the palace then said, oh, we're kind of not going to deny this. What do you think are the most interesting things?
What's fascinating is Robert Hardman's had a really unique insight. So in the first months of the King's reign, watching that transition, how he sees him adapting, the relationships, the shifting relationships. He talks about a much closer relationship now between the King and the Prince of Wales. How does he really feel about Harry?
Hardman is very valued and liked, and what was really powerful with the Lilibet stuff this week, that I'd like you to ask him, is there was no denial from the palace, which for me says they actually agree with what he said. I'm going to watch it tomorrow morning. I'm going to watch you and David Bull.
What do you mean you never watch? Well,
Friday.
You're up at 6 o'clock on a Friday.
School run.
Alarm set.
Do you know what's happening a week on Friday? Another baby. I'll be up all bleeding night. Sarah Hewson
Thank you
here
so much.
tomorrow morning. Thank you, Sarah.